Are we ready to go, Seb?
One moment.
Well, welcome everybody. Very happy to see old friends and new friends. And later on, I'll introduce our speaker, who will be Mrs. Fiona MacDonald, who will talk about decision making with integrity. That normal format is that we begin with acknowledgement of country and music and readings. And so I'd like to acknowledge and honour the Indigenous land and people. The Paramank people is the land where I am now, and the Gadigal and Bidjigal people is where I live with Jung and my family. And I'd just like to say that the Indigenous people, from my experience and from what I've learned, their culture is one of listening and valuing spiritual things more than material. And I think that's what this interfaith group, the whole interfaith movement is about listening, not just talking, and we learn when we're listening. So the idea of all of these talks is that we listen and learn, and we don't try to. When it's our turn to present, then we explain our viewpoint. But otherwise, we're here to learn, and there'll be an opportunity after the presentation, or even during it, to ask questions as well. So I'd like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous people for looking after this land and putting up with us. Thank you.
अथ षोडशोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच अभयं सत्त्वसंशुद्धिः ज्ञानयोगव्यवस्थितिः दानं दमश्च यज्ञश्च स्वाध्यायस्तप आर्जवम् अहिंसा सत्यमक्रोधः त्यागः शान्तिरपैशुनम् दया भूतेष्वलोलुप्त्वम् मार्दवम् ह्रीरचापलम् तेजक्षमा धृतिः शौचम् अद्रोहो नातिमानिता भवन्ति सम्पदम् दैवीम् अभिजातस्य भारत
According to all your righteousness, I pray. to shine on your sanctuary, which is desolate. Oh my God, incline your ear and hear. Open your eyes and see our desolations and the city which is called by your name, and the city which is called by your name. For we do not present our supplications before you because of our righteous deeds, but because of your great mercies. Oh Lord, hear. Oh Lord, forgive. Oh Lord, listen and act. Do not delay, for your own sake, my God, for your city and your people are called by your name. Oh Lord, hear. Oh Lord, forgive. Oh Lord, listen and act. Oh Lord, hear. Oh Lord, forgive. Oh Lord, listen and act.
O Lord, you possessor of infinite mercy, O Lord of forgiveness and pardon, forgive our sins, pardon our shortcomings, and call us to turn to the kingdom of thy clemency, invoking the kingdom of might and power, humble at thy shrine, and submissive before the glory of thy evidences. O Lord God, make us as waves of the sea, as flowers of the garden, united, agreed through the bounties of thy love. O Lord, dilate the breast through the signs of thy oneness, and make all mankind as stars, shining from the same height of glory, as perfect fruits growing upon the tree of life. Verily, you are the Almighty, the self-subsistent, the giver, forgiving, the pardoner, the omniscient, the one creator. By scriptures.
Of the sin against God, thou art atonement. Of the sin against mankind, thou art atonement. For sin against the fathers, thou atonest. Of the sin against oneself, thou art atonement. Of every sort of sin, thou art atonement. The sin that I have knowingly committed, and that unawares I have committed, of all the wickedness, thou art atonement. O endowed, transcendent one, I myself and others request that you cleanse wrongs and hindrances from all sentient beings and purify every weakened and broken sacred word of honor. Hinduism.
O Son of Man, the true lover yearneth for tribulation, even as doeth the rebel for forgiveness, and the sinful for mercy. O Son of Man, breathe not the sins of others, so long as thou art thyself a sinner. Shouldest thou transgress this command, accursed wouldest thou be, and to this I bear witness. O oppressor of earth, withdraw your hands from tyranny, for I have pledged myself not to forgive any man's injustice. This is my covenant, which I have irrevocably decreed in the preserved tablet and sealed with my seal. Baha'u'llah.
A religious student who retains what he has learned, who finds pleasure in the fulfillment of the law, who keeps the rules of studentship, who is upright and forgiving, attains perfection. The one who strikes others is not a hermit. One is not an ascetic who insults others. Not to blame, not to strike, to live restrained under the law, to be moderate in eating, to live alone, and to practice the highest consciousness. This is the teaching of the awakened ones. Let us live in joy, not hating those who hate us. Among those who hate us, we live free of hate. Let us live in joy, free from greed among the greedy. Among those who are greedy, we live free of greed. Let us live in joy, though we possess nothing. Let us live feeding on joy like the bright gods. The Buddhist scriptures.
If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Christianity. If thou, Lord, shouldest mark iniquities, O Lord, who shall stand? But there is forgiveness with thee, that thou mayst be feared. I wait for the Lord, my soul doth wait, and in his word do I hope. Judaism.
Allah beckons by his grace to the garden of bliss and forgiveness, and makes his signs clear to mankind, that they may celebrate his praise. The believers are nothing else than brothers in Islam, so make reconciliation between your brothers and fear Allah, that you may receive mercy. O mankind, we created you from male and female and made you into nations and tribes, that you may know each other, not that you may despise each other. Verily, the most honored of you in the sight of Allah is he who is the most righteous of you, and Allah has full knowledge and is fully informed. Islamic scriptures.
It is also recorded in the Gospel according to St. Luke that on a certain day Jesus passed by a Jew who was sick of the palsy and lay upon a couch. When the Jew saw him, he recognized him and cried out for his help. Jesus said unto him, Arise from thy bed, thy sins are forgiven thee. Certain of the Jews standing by protested, saying, Who can forgive sins but God alone? And immediately he perceived their thoughts. Jesus answering said unto them, Whether is it easier to say to the sick of the palsy, Arise and take up thy bed and walk, or to say, Thy sins are forgiven thee, that ye may know that the Son of Man hath power on earth to forgive sins. This is the real sovereignty And such is the power of God's chosen ones. All these things which we have repeatedly mentioned, and the details which we have cited from diverse sources, have no other purpose but to enable thee to grasp the meaning of the allusions in the utterances of the chosen ones of God, lest certain of these utterances cause thy feet to falter and thy heart to be dismayed. For High Scripture.
O children of men, if ye believe in the one true God, follow me, this most great remembrance of God sent forth by your Lord, that he may graciously forgive you your sins. Verily, he is forgiving and compassionate toward the concourse of the faithful. We of a truth choose the messengers through the potency of our word, and we exalt their offspring, some over others, through the great remembrance of God as decreed in the book and concealed therein. The Higher Scriptures.
Forgive me, oh my Lord, for every mention but the mention of thee, for every praise but the praise of thee, for every delight but delight in thy nearness. But the pleasure of communion with thee, for every joy, but the joy of thy love and of thy good pleasure. Pertaining unto me, which bear no relationship unto thee, O thou who art the Lord of lords, he who provideth the means and unlocketh the doors, O thou who art the Lord of lords, he who provideth the means the Lord of Lords. He provided the means and unlocketh the doors. Oh, thou who art the Lord of Lords. He provided the means and unlocketh the doors. Oh, thou who art the Lord of Lords. He provided the means and unlocketh the doors. He provided the means and unlocketh the doors. He provided the means and unlocketh the door.
Thank you to the readers, and thank you, Siva, for the selection of music. And now my great pleasure to welcome Fiona MacDonald. Fiona is married with 4 children and 8 grandchildren. She lives in Perth, Western Australia, and has been a Baha'i since she was 20. So that's about 5 years, right? She was a senior manager of Relationship Education for Relationships Australia before retiring. Fiona has served as chairperson of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Australia, which is a decision-making body consulting on an extraordinarily wide range of community issues. And Fiona will talk about decision-making with integrity. So I'm going to ask Fiona to take over, and however you like to run this session, it's over to you. But everyone remember just to be orderly in your questions using the reaction button if possible.
Thank you so much for that, Colin. I hope you can hear me. Yes, everyone can hear me, I hope.
Yep, it's good.
Then thank you for that. And I hope you can all see the slide that I've just been sharing. So hopefully that'll be clear for you. As Colin said, I mean, I'm a Baha'i, as you know, and some of the things that we will, I'll refer to some of the quotes in here will be from the Baha'i writings, either Abdu'l-Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, the Shoghi Effendi, who was Abdu'l-Baha's grandson, who was the guardian of the Baha'i faith, and also the Universal House of Justice, which is the international governing body for the Baha'is of Australia. So you'll see those written down there. So there are some of those, and some of the others are really just Baha'i inspired quotes that are there. So just so that you know, and also sometimes the consultation might talk about local assemblies or an assembly, and it also might talk about members who are part of that. But this relates to any decision-making body, whether it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, or whatever. So any of the numbers that are there, this is what we would talk about in terms of the decision-making. So hopefully I'm very happy if people want to make comments, ask questions as we go through, and I might even have a question or two for you and see what you think as we go through, just to keep you all awake. Hopefully that'll be helpful. So decision making with integrity. So just to begin with, I wanted to look at things from systems for maintaining order that we've had in the world today. There's always been a need for some system of maintaining order, directing activities and settling differences. From primitive times, generally speaking, the most primitive is the clash of strength, brute force against brute force. That's been always from day one. Trouble is, it's also for today. We see so much brute force happening in terms of any decisions or anything that people want to do. they do it with force, whether it's international, whether it's national, whether it's even through society, but it's also in the family. You know, the decision making is sometimes just through brute force. So it's still rather unfortunate. So, and that includes so much fear and hatred and suspicion is permeating the world today. Decisions are often made through fear and hatred and suspicion of others in one way or another. So in recent history, the best protector that has been so far against the corruption of leadership has been pluralism and party politics. In a pluralistic system, each party or group claims it can solve the difficult problems of the day better than the opposition. But it still does mean that it can be quite divisive. This system is, whilst it's the best we have perhaps, with quite division, with little sense of unity being established. That's not means that it never is, but generally speaking, there's not a lot of unity that is created. So, and also, which we're not talking about today, the electoral process, but also the in the seemingly democratic society, the election process can be corrupted and manipulated, and we see this happening in many parts of the world, in many countries. Sadly, that we see that. So, when we look at the world today, it seems that we need to find a way to resolve issues and make decisions more appropriately and effectively, resulting in a more harmonious outcome for all. And that's what I'll be really talking about today, how we might achieve that. And as I will say, surely there must be a better way to organise society, one where service is at the heart and the best interests of all are considered. This, of course, is not an easy thing to do, because it does mean that we have to let go of our egos and think of others rather than ourselves. And that, of course, is the goal, but not, as I was saying earlier, not easy to do. So the Baha'i system of governance and decision-making is radically different to any other system. And this I hope to talk a little bit about and see how we go with that. And this system is based on what we call consultation. And consultation, which I've added, is with as it says, with integrity. So consultation, which we would say as Baha'is, and we talk a bit about later, which has as its objective the search for truth. So what is consultation, Baha'i consultation? Baha'i consultation is a tool for individuals and institutions to use when making and implementing decisions on issues of concern to them. Its purpose, Abdu'l-Baha has said, is the investigation of truth. So if I look at this next one, I think this for me is a really interesting statement. It's Baha'i inspired, which it says, by using consultation, we are doing more than making plans and getting things done. Through consultation, we are realigning the relationships of people in society. We are giving a voice to those who have not been allowed to speak, giving hope to those whose lives have been made hopeless. Through consultation, we are redefining power in society, making radiance of spirit, love of God, humility and patience the dominating or the dominant force in all decision-making. Consultation can be painful, difficult, and time-consuming. It is also an instrument ordained by God that transforms individuals and human society. So I wondered if anyone had any thoughts on that. I find this quite a powerful statement. You know, why is it that consultation might realign relationships? And why does it give a voice to those that have not been allowed to speak? Any thoughts on that?
Jung has a hand raised.
Sorry, Jung, please. You're on mute.
Thank
Lovely.
you, Fiona. We heard for a long time ago, all the major decision making already done behind the curtain, and then consultation only a process that got stepped up in front, you know, just like before the curtain, so the audience can see it. But all the major decision already made from somewhere behind that consultation. So if consultation is so wonderful, that's the way it was described, why we have the word arbitration in the court system? because if the parties not agree with consultation and if there are forces in doing decision making that they say based on integrity, but then one party is not happy with it because that will be more than two parties involved, then they take to the arbitration and the court will decide.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you make a very good point, Jung. And I think that some of the points you're making, one is that often consultation or decisions are made behind the curtain, if you like. And when there comes a time for consultation, then they just tell people what the decision is, not actually truly consult. And in terms of what you're talking about in the court, unfortunately, there are times where decisions cannot be made amicably by people. And so sometimes it just has to go to the court. And there's probably not much one can do about that. So they have to take it to another, if you like, body that makes that decision. So I think that that is some very good points that you make for that. So thank you, Jung. And Ahmed.
Sorry, I was trying to get my microphone on. I think in consultation, we sharing our, thoughts, opinions, and concepts, and just that sharing brings people together.
Absolutely, definitely, Colin.
Yeah, just building on both of those points. Decisions made behind the scenes, especially in politics, like before it even reaches Parliament,
Yes.
its position. And I think that's because people are frightened of consultation.
Yes.
Because if it doesn't go the way they've pre-planned, then they're losing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Colin. So as it says here, the power is different in consultation. The power we're talking about here is radiance of spirit, love of God, humility and patience. This is the true power that actually brings about the greater good. But also, we should never lose sight of the fact that consultation can be painful, difficult and time consuming, because it's actually often more difficult, more time consuming and painful. But in the end, the decisions that are made when people have all felt that they've been heard, they've had a voice, and that even if it's not agreed to, they've had their opportunity, then that is a far more useful and more beneficial decision that is made. So thank you for those. So what are the spiritual prerequisites that we might have for consultation? So the first one that we would say is the first condition is absolute love and harmony amongst the members of the assembly. They must be wholly free from estrangement and must manifest in themselves the unity of God. That's the first one. Not easy to do. And none of us would say that's easy, because we all have our feelings and we all, there are times when we're not so keen on somebody. But that is the standard and that is the bar with which we would aim. And the second one is the second condition. They must, when coming together, turn their faces to the kingdom on high and ask aid from the realm of glory. They must then proceed with the utmost devotion, courtesy, dignity, care and moderation to express their views. So there's two things. One, there must be harmony and love amongst the members, and the other one is where we turn to the divine. Not only turn to the divine and pray for inspiration, but also turn to the divine with all the writings, all the quotes, all the guidance that is always then brought into any consultation that Baha'is would have in terms of guiding us with the spiritual principles. So the major principles continue with the members thereof must take counsel together in such wise that no occasion for ill feeling or discord may arise, as said a moment ago. This can be attained when every member expresseth with absolute freedom his own opinion, setteth forth his argument. Should anyone oppose, he must on no account feel hurt, for not until matters are fully discussed can the right way be revealed. The shining spark of truth cometh forth only after the clash of differing opinions. If anyone, please put your hand up if anyone wants to make a comment as we go through. So the next one is at the very root cause the very root of the cause lies the principle of the undoubted right of the individual to self-expression, his freedom to declare his conscience and set forth his views. And I might just make a comment, I haven't got it on my slide, but just to make a small aside to talk about advocacy. In the Baha'i faith, we have no room for advocacy. When somebody might ask somebody else to bring up their concerns to an institution, then there is no, that is not what we do. That is not a process we engage in. If anyone comes to a member of an institution and says they'd like to them to talk to them about something, we then ask them to write and put forward their own views or meet with the assembly. Because the challenge is that if somebody takes somebody's view to an assembly, it doesn't leave them then with the view to do what it says here, to speak forth with their own individual views and so on. So they may be bringing somebody else's view, and how do they then speak their own view? So there is no room for advocacy in the Baha'i consultation. So once an opinion is expressed, it becomes the property of the assembly and must be considered on its own merits, without regard to the personality of the member whose opinion it is. So this is quite important, because once it's spoken, it belongs to everyone. It doesn't belong to the person. It's put forward there, and you must speak freely without regard for any other member, whether you're related to them, whether you dislike them, which you shouldn't be, but you know that you actually should have no regard for some other people's view in terms of who is in the consultation. And similarly, it is not correct for the one who has put forward an idea to feel duty to defend it. In the face of opposition from other assembly members, Abdu'l-Baha makes this clear when he says they must in every matter search out the truth and not insist upon their own opinion. For stubbornness and persistence in one's views will lead ultimately to discord and wrangling, and the truth will remain hidden. So we should not be persistent with our own views. So then it is no wise also permissible for one to belittle the thought of another. Nay, he must with moderation set forth the truth, and should differences of opinion arise, a majority of voices must prevail, and all must obey and submit to the majority. And this is another important principle, that if a decision is made that perhaps 2 or 3 do not agree with or didn't vote for, once the decision is made, then it becomes their decision. And they will do their utmost to make sure that that decision is carried out appropriately and effectively. And no one is permitted to speak against it at the time. Because otherwise, one of the challenges is if people agitate, and if they speak against a decision away from the decision making, that in itself could cause that actual decision not to work. Now, if by chance the decision is made and it isn't the most helpful or a good decision, by all upholding that decision, it will become clear and apparent that perhaps that decision was not the best way forward. And then people can come back, reflect, and look at a way that it can be done. So it's really important that people uphold any decision, whether they voted for it or not. So remember, it is the opinions and not the people that may clash. Participants must focus their attention on the constructive ideas that are generated by the collision of opinions. They must not focus on the collision itself, and certainly not on the members whose views are in conflict. If a meeting degenerates into personal conflict, the discord will prevent an effective decision being made, much less put into practice. So as you can see from this, we are not having a clash of people. It's very important that we don't have a clash of people. It's important that we only have clash of views. And those clash of views should be welcomed, because different perspectives, which we'll talk about in a moment, are really, really important. And I see a few more people have joined us. So welcome to all those who joined us. It's great to have so many of you here. And I meant to say earlier, it seems that we have quite an international set of people coming here. I see Canada, Malaysia, and England, and there was another one, I can't remember where it was, but a number of different countries are here. So it's a wonderful, this is a wonderful forum oh, Russia, we have Russia here as well. So welcome to you all. I meant to say that earlier. So, in its own meetings in the approach to consultation, it must endeavour to develop a skill in the difficult but highly rewarding art of Baha'i consultation, a process which will require great self-discipline on the part of all members and complete reliance on the power of Baha'u'llah. Self-reliance on how we consult, self-discipline on how we, self-discipline, it's not easy to do because we all want to be seen as right. So it's not an easy thing to do. So patience and restraint, however, should at all times characterize the discussions and deliberations of the elected representatives of the local community and in any consultation forum, and no fruitless strifes and hair-splitting discussions indulged in under any circumstances. Patience and restraint is really important because some people think more quickly. So when a consultation is going, they may think quickly and they can respond quickly. Other people take time to think about things and they need time to be able to process what is being said. So we must have patience and restraint to allow for all people who may operate slightly differently, who see things differently as well. So it's really important that we display self-discipline with restraint and patience. So this is slightly a bit of a summary here in many ways. Consultation must have as its objective the investigation of truth. He who expresses an opinion should not voice it as correct and right, but set it forth as a contribution to the consensus of opinion. For the light of reality becomes apparent when two opinions coincide. A spark is produced when flint and steel come together. Man should weigh his opinions with the utmost serenity, calmness and composure. Before expressing his own views, he should carefully consider the views already advanced by others. If he finds that in a previously expressed opinion is more true and worthy, he should accept it immediately and not willfully hold to an opinion of his own. By this excellent method, he endeavours to arrive at unity and truth. So, listening to all that, what do you think is the greatest obstacle? Abdu'l-Baha talks about that there is the greatest obstacle towards the path of unity. What would you think that might be?
One of them would be religious prejudice, you know.
Certainly, religious prejudice would certainly create an obstacle towards unity, absolutely. Colin?
Believing that I'm right and others are wrong.
I think you might have read this before. So Abdu'l-Baha says the greatest obstacle, with the fact that we imagine ourselves to be right and everyone else wrong, is the greatest of all obstacles in the path of unity. And I like this quote because I always have to remind myself this. I think in many ways, possibly we all suffer from the fact that, I know I do, I suffer from the fact that I think I'm right and everyone else is wrong. So I think this is a good one to remind ourselves. I'm going to now show you a few pictures that you might find interesting. And these pictures show different perspectives of something. This is a bit of fun. And I want you to tell me what you can see in these pictures, because you can see different things in these pictures. I don't know if any of you seen this before. Some of you may have done. It's quite an old picture, but I'm wondering if you can tell me who you can see in this picture. Anyone willing to share with what you can see? Robert, you're on mute. No, now you're on. There you are. Okay, what can you see, Robert?
See a young woman and also an old woman.
Very good. Can anyone see? Can you sort of put your hands up if you can see a young woman there? Yeah. Anyone else see a young woman?
Yeah.
Yep, you can see a young woman.
She had big eyes, and the other eyes that hardly that we can view it.
Okay, so are you saying this is the young lady? Yes, is that what you can see? Can everyone see the young lady?
I see there are two people in the picture, at least for the moment. One
Yes, that's
big eye
good.
here,
That's-
one big eye
yeah.
here with makeup on, and the
Yes.
other one is probably no makeup.
Well, the one is sideways. Is that right? Can you see the lady sideways, young lady?
Yep.
Can you all see that? Can anyone not see it? Okay. Yes.
Yes, and the old person, you can see how the mouth and everything. Yes.
Down there. So the old
Yeah.
lady is there with a nose and a little bit of a bump on the nose. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's a bit of lump.
Yeah.
There's a lump
And-
right here.
Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. Back. Let me go back to. So this is the old lady here with the nose and the eye.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Sometimes it's hard. Can you see that? Can anyone have difficulty seeing that?
There's a chin down here. Her chin
That's the
down
chin.
here.
That's right. That's the chin.
Yep.
And the mouth. Okay, I'm hopeful you can all see that. All right, so the next one. What's wrong with this picture? Oh, no, that's wrong. Sorry, the next one. How many people can you see in this picture? Tell me how many you can see. Tell me how many you can see.
It's more than 5 people.
Okay, anyone got more than 5?
2, 3, 4. I can see 5 too. Yep.
You can see 5. Anyone see more?
14.
6. At least 6.
Okay, 6. Anyone more?
14.
8 people.
8. Someone can see 8.
I can see 9.
Yes.
Oh, 9. Okay, any more?
Oh, yeah, yep. There's more.
Yes,
2,
9.
4,
I
6,
got that. I get that one.
Okay.
8.
Any more?
Yeah, I see, like the one here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
6.
7, 8, 9. And
Okay.
whether they are fully scratch, or they hardly sketch.
Okay, well, I can tell you there are 10.
Is it?
10. Let me see my cursor. Can you see my
Yes,
cursor?
10. There are 10. Yeah, I found.
You found 10, Pina. Wonderful. Well done.
Yes.
So this is one that's pretty obvious. And then there's 2 here. Can you see the lady at side? Yes?
Yeah, they're not fully sketch.
So there's 1 there. 3 here. Can you see him?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, we do.
4 here. This lady with the hat on. I
With
think.
the glasses on.
That's 5 here. 5. And then 6 is this man here.
And then that's another one here.
And there's 7 here.
Yeah,
8 here. And 9 is here.
9 here.
And 10 here.
And 10.
Mm.
Yeah. But you didn't all see it at first, did you? You saw 5. Is that right?
Because they're hidden.
So they're hidden, exactly. So you could see 5, and then you look closely, you saw 6, 7, and this is what happens in consultation. Gradually, things emerge as you discuss. So I like this picture. It's quite a clever one. Let's see what this next one is. Is there a problem with this picture?
There's a little bird here. Peacock.
Oh yes, yes.
That's the one here, peacock.
There's a little peacock there, but can you see the columns? Are they okay?
Uneven.
They're funny, aren't they?
Mm.
Something wrong's here.
Yeah,
Somehow
one column went inside.
That's right. That's right. The column, this one starts at the outside and then goes inside. So there's
Right.
something wrong with that. Okay,
Yeah.
now tell
I saw
me
two of them. I saw 2 of them.
2 of them.
3.
That's right.
No, 3.
1, 2,
3.
3.
3 misplaced.
Yes, the only 2 really are these sort of ones here. Yeah, they're all a bit odd. All right,
More of them that are up.
that's right, are a bit odd. So what can you see in this picture? You have to go back a little bit. What can you see in this picture?
A lady and a baby on the floor, I think.
I don't
Is
see the
it?
baby.
Okay.
It's not a lady. This one is not a lady. You know why? Because her step is too far away.
Okay.
You see, the step got to be close to be a lady.
Okay. It looks like somebody with a skirt, though. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, and
and
that's
feet.
skirt and sweater.
Yeah.
And there's a child on the floor, I think.
And
It
a
may-
picture of a man. The whole thing is like a man.
Okay. Can you see the face of the man as well?
Yeah.
Ahmad, you can see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Can you see the face of the man there? It
The
goes
face
like
is
this.
a bit long.
So the eye, 2 eyes,
Yes.
and the head, and then the mouth. It's easier if you go away. You can see it better away. It's quite big, so it's quite hard to see. But when you look closely, you can see 2 things. Is that right?
Yes, that's true. He went to cosmetic surgery.
Right.
It looked like one.
All right, tell me what you see here.
The skull.
A skull. You can see the skull. Can
Yes.
others see the skull?
Yes.
Yes. And what else do you see?
They the soul. They are the soul in the purgatory. And
There
they,
are 2 people in the eyes.
Yes, that's right.
and they look like they drink beer
Looks like they're drinking something interesting, aren't they?
in the purgatory.
Yeah, is that where they are? That's interesting.
I wonder whether that's a watermelon or her.
Yeah, that's right.
She's
Yes,
pregnant.
that's interesting, isn't it? Okay, so those finish my pictures. So those are just a little bit of fun, but it's really just showing that we can often see different things. People can see different things in different, what we're looking at. They might see this, then they might see the bigger picture. Sometimes you don't always see the big picture, you do still see the small details, and that's how we perceive things. That's how we see different things, and it's all very valuable. So we're now going to look at about the dynamics of consultation. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the dynamics of consultation. And before we do that, I'm just going to read for you that each of us has billions of bits of information in our brains. These combine in various ways to produce interesting ideas. Intelligence involves combining known information and making deductions in different ways. An aspect of this is using the known for unusual and novel applications. You've probably heard of the description called synergy. And synergy, my understanding of synergy is that it's the total effect of people working together is much more than the sum of the parts of the people. So you add up the people, but together they actually create synergy. So, for example, a subject might come up and there's 2 people talking about it. Ivan has some ideas. He's combined perhaps 4 bits of information out of the billions he has. So he's got 4 ideas. Roya, on the other hand, has 5 ideas or novel ways of combining the information that she knows. If they like each other, are enthusiastic about what they are talking about and have a common objective, 2 interesting things happen. As each explains as each explains their ideas, new connections are formed. Also, as each hears what the other is saying, even more new ideas are formed. So the 4 ideas of Ivan and the 5 of Roya do not total 9. Rather, they equal 10 or 20 or even 100. It might be. So something else also happens. As people speak, they tend to concentrate on the better ideas and ignore those that are less promising. So there is the process of expanding the number of ideas while choosing and refining the more promising ones. So this would be really sort of describing consultation. However, if Ivan and Roya are suspicious of each other and don't trust each other, they will not openly share their ideas, but there will be very little benefit from the discussions. So when people consult under the proper conditions, which we just talked about earlier, they have access to good judgment and intelligent responses, not otherwise available to them. So I'm going to take you now through the following diagram. So 6 people are sitting around this table and they have the very imaginative names of A, B, C, D, E, and F, for want of a better name. They also have a topic that they're talking about, and that is the round circle is a topic, and inside that is the circle of truth about the topic. So all that they know about this is in this circle of truth. So let us see how we start. So first of all, each person has an understanding of this subject. So first of all, B, who has quite a significant and has more experience, knows more than others. So most of what is known that he knows about is inside this circle of truth or circle of the subject. So then then some of it might lay outside that's a bit irrelevant to what they're talking about. So then we have C and D make their comments as well. They make comments in there, which a lot of it is within that subject, that the circle of truth that they're talking about. And D and C overlap in, as you can see, number 7, but all 3 of them overlap in 6. So, and you will see the number, I haven't put all the numbers in, but there are some that D and B overlap with, some that C and B, but basically number 6 is where they all agree. So if a vote were to be taken, oh no, sorry, there's a little bit more there. E has a view, and his view is part of it's into the subject matter, the circle of truth, and F, what comments are really irrelevant to the topic that they're talking about. It has it outside, and A has no thoughts on the subject, so gives no view. So if they were to take a vote now, number 6 might be the that might be where they would make the decision. However, the group does not vote. Instead, they continue to consult with love, harmony, and trust. And as they consult, opinions shift. As you will see here, and so they move, the opinion shift, things move further. However, even though the ideas are moving closer together, it may be still too early to vote. So they keep consulting until they find the gem that they are perhaps looking for. And then once it's stated, once somebody says something like that, quite often, all those who are participating say, yes, that is what we are looking for. They recognize that as the best response, the best ideas. That happens when there is love and trust among those consulting. Any of those consulting could have been the one to locate the gem of truth, this idea, this whatever it is that they feel is the best option, best idea. It could have been B, who was the most knowledgeable and experienced, or A, who was the least. As long as the discussion went smoothly, it was not possible to say who played the most important role in reaching the decision, and it really doesn't matter. B may have talked the most because of a wealth of experience and information possessed by him. F may have provided a perspective no one else considered. C, D, and E may have been good in clarifying points and seeking for consensus. A may have said nothing, but just by being there, contributed at least 2 things. One is that others may have made an extra effort to explain things to A. In so doing all gained greater clarification. Another contribution of his may have been that A provided a special spirit that was radiated just by his or her being present. In many so-called primitive cultures, the grandmothers often do not take part in a discussion, yet their presence influences the discussion, and their approval, which may be no more than a nod, is essential for any undertaking. In consultation, ordinary people have been known to come up with ideas that are usually made by people who are considered geniuses and brilliant. This has been demonstrated through research. Consultation is an organic process. One characteristic of organic growth is that the exact outcome cannot be predicted. And that's when, if you can't predict it, it's wonderful when it actually emerges. The dynamic interaction of those involved leads to new, exciting, and unpredictable results. However, when there is suspicion, mistrust, and animosity, something else happens, and you can see it here. Then people tend to pull back, their ideas, parties of forms, factions take place, and positions become entrenched, as as on the screen you see that. And then people start to argue, conflict arises, and it's not particularly helpful. So effective consultation involves sharing thoughts and feelings under the most favorable conditions to produce the best thinking of which that particular group is capable. Any comments on my little diagrams that somebody carefully did for me on that? Any thoughts on that?
Fiona, what was the tick? Did that represent, because there was 2 circles overlapping when you had that red tick?
That really, that that represents the idea that through the consultation everyone agreed to, that suddenly this whoever said that, they go, yes, that's what we should do. And could well have been completely unpredictable. But that tick is what they call, like what this book I got it from talks about, the gem of truth. But this is where something comes out and they make a decision that was quite unpredictable, but this is what they all go, yes, that's what we should do, that's the action we should take. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
Thank you, Fiona. What I'm curious is, do you set up a time frame and the cost of sitting for this sort of meeting? Because for me, it's look like it's gonna take a lot of time and gonna cost a lot, because just like in public service, if all the people in the boardroom spend so much time on this, then we can reach a decision making really fast, and that will be cost, and that's very expensive, and it's gonna take a long time because people just go around.
You make some very, very good points, Young. And yes, I think that it can be quite costly. It can take time. It can take a lot of time. But what they find is, in the end, if they put the time and effort, and even if it is a bit costly, it actually in the long run saves. Because if they don't get it right, they may have to come back again later. And if they don't get it right, they may have to come back again later. So I think that is a really good point. It is time consuming, but in the long run, it is actually worth it in the long run. But you do have to give, a bit of time and patience. That's a good point. But can I go to Perry?
Thank you. If I may, I want to share something, so you may have to come back and share yours.
Oh, you want to say something a bit later?
No.
Yes?
I just want to share this.
Oh, yes, please do. Oh, you mean, I see. I see what you mean. Oh, yes.
This is one of the slides that we always use in our PowerPoint. And it is from the Universal Laws of Justice on the 25th of November.
Yes.
Whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending people can coalesce. Now, this is, of course, the Baha'i consultation that you are talking about with the Baha'is as a group, individuals or institutions. But I think this is in a public discourse like what we have now in these meetings. This is an important thing. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that there is, while I was in the hospital, my grandchildren were visiting. And my grandson, Rehan, is only 14. Sorry, I have to share once more.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were still doing something else. Apologies.
Yes.
Yes, please. That's it.
So I wanted to explain to him and also with others this particular quotation, and it's not necessarily a consultation in a Baha'i environment. It's a public.
Yes. Actually, that's very similar to what I was showing.
Yes. So this one I did that, and I with my grandson and other people who were there, and I actually posted this on the Facebook.
Oh, really? Yes.
So I said I was trying to understand this favorite quote of mine.
Yes.
And to explain it to others, especially at our weekly Thursday interfaith meeting.
Yes.
Now I came up with this Venn diagram.
Yes.
It's clear for me. Hope someone can give a better explanation. Anyway, that is one thing that I want to share. The other thing is that there is an American journalist by the name Amanda Ripley. And she wrote a book called High Conflict. And her research and publication of the book was all about how conflicts were resolved in the world in what are the different models. And she independently came to the conclusion the Baha'i consultation was the best model that is available.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yes.
Thank you. That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes. Well, when we as we believe it's given by God, it's probably. Thank you. I've got Ahmad, and then I had another hand. Somebody had another hand up too. Pina, I think.
Yeah, Fiona, I just wanted to say that as you're drawing it there, the truth, the actual truth is bigger, the circle is bigger than the decision that is initially is made. And the initial decision will grow to show that circle.
Yes, yes. Well, I think once, yes, I mean, once they consult then on that idea, then that could be bigger. That makes a good point. Did we lose Pina? She had her hand up, and I'm not sure whether...
Still there.
Oh, there she is. There she is. Pina, did you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you. I lower now. Yes, I was thinking about, like, it really takes a lot of time, sacrifices, and pain.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the 2 days, spiritual assembly.
Yes.
You know, as you said, you know, it's so painful. At the end of the day, like you lost your head already.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I was thinking, you know, it's really good to remind the members at the beginning, after the prayers, that let us concentrate, let us put all our efforts, let us all call the Holy Spirit to help us.
Yes.
Let us be in tune with the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
And so if one is speaking, you know, you want to support it by praying quietly for the person.
Yes.
And sometimes we need to sacrifice our opinion because you realize that I want to say this, and then you start to digest it, and you realize, oh no, it does not contribute much positively. So you sacrifice your opinion for that.
Yes,
and then
absolutely.
Just like a magnifying glass, you know, when you want to burn something with the right angle and the right light and the strength of the energy, you know, it can burn. So similarly with our concentration, with the love and spirit that is needed for an effective consultation. So cooperation for each and everyone and prayers is really important. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Pina. Good points made. So now I'm just going to just look at the steps to consultation. It won't take long. I'll just go through the steps of consultation, which I'm sure you would be familiar with. But the first step is to define the matter to be consulted upon, make a clear statement of the issue and ensure all members agree with it. I've heard it said that if you can define the issue to be consulted on that you all agree with, you're 50% towards making a decision. Because if you don't understand the issue, then you're going to be all over the place. So you really need to be not only defining it, but agreeing on it. And the second one is ascertain all the facts. So all the facts of the matter have to be brought out and then agreed upon. And no attempt to make decisions should be really attempted before the facts are all established. So then you identify the spiritual and administrative principles. And this is what, as Baha'is, we would look at what the spiritual principles and administrative and all the guidance that may relate to this issue. Then you might consult together, talking about applying the principles of consultation that we've talked about as outlined above. Then we might make a clear statement of the provisional state decision, and that's important too, because sometimes, you know, a decision might be written without actually having stated it. And it's important that we actually say, this is what is being put forward, and the chair would perhaps do that, or the secretary might do that, or whoever is taking notes. And you might say, this is what the decision is. Yes, that's the decision. And then following that, make a decision by consensus or majority vote. Once you've made that decision, then decide how the decision will be carried out. It's not just enough to make a decision, but you have to work out how the decision will be carried out, who and what and where and when. So you have to make all those decisions. Minute the decision and the action plan. So those are the things that would be there. But then after you've made that, once you've done that, you then maybe later need to come back and reflect, how did it go? Do we need to make adjustments and so on? But that's just the next step of all of that. So that really is my talk, if you like, or facilitation on consultation steps. So I'll hand it now back to Colin, and I might stop sharing so we can all see each other nicely. Yeah, so back to you, Colin.
Thank you very much, Fiona. And busily trying to raise my hand before anyone else does. Excuse me.
So, well, you've got the floor.
Everyone, you're welcome to put your hand up and ask a question, make a comment. And mine is, with the process you just outlined, Fiona, was about coming up with an action plan. And in the beginning, you mentioned that the purpose is finding the truth of the matter. And I can see them; they mean the same thing, like the truth, which is the best action plan. That's
yes.
But I know in some consultative bodies, including National Assembly that you served on, that people often come with their personal conflicts, and they want justice, or they want. So, how do you decide whether how to assist the person? I mean, everybody all through their life has daily little injustices, and also some big ones. Do you try to solve them all, whoever writes to the National Assembly?
Colin, I think you know the answer to that.
Well, what I'm wondering is when do you decide, yes, this person needs
how do you decide?
Justice.
Well, I think as Colin's talking there, I think some of you would know, if not, that in the Baha'i faith we have local assemblies, and so the local assemblies are the ones that have the authority. We have in the Baha'i faith, there's no authority invested in any individual; it's all in institutions. And so we have people in these bodies who are divine. It's a divinely ordained institution. So something comes to the National Assembly that they think could be dealt with at the local level, then it would be referred back to their local assembly to deal with. It's very good to be able to refer on. And so that happens there. But it really depends on the issue that comes to the National Assembly. And there may be things that come to the National Assembly that they've already dealt with in the past, and there may be guidance that the Secretariat can then answer because it's already been, dealt with. So everything is on case by case, and it's not something that you can say make definitive decisions about which go and which don't. And so I think it's something that is, it depends on what it is. Sorry if that's a bit vague. Young.
Thank you, Fiona. I think your talk is really excellent.
Thank you.
But I'm curious about the public sector, because if people got invitation to the boardroom to do a decision making on behalf of their staff, just say the company run by $1 billion and they have like 10,000 staff, so decision making got to be correct. It's based on budget and policies and competent people on the boardroom. In the boardroom, we cannot invite incompetent people going to the boardroom, sitting there, no idea about policies, no idea about the budget, no idea about staff condition, no idea about safety, and they talk forever.
Yes.
And that's not productive. So
Absolutely.
What I'm saying that whatever we do, whether religious body or non-religious body, we have to align with government policy. The government policy want people to be productive. So
Yes.
why people have to give up their opinion in consultation process with somebody who is so incompetent, can't make decision?
Well, that's
No idea whatsoever.
Yeah. Then I think yes, I think that's an interesting point. I think that having people who are incompetent in positions is not helpful at all, is it? And I think that government body needs to make sure they try and appoint competent people who would actually be able to make decisions, or they need to train them, or they need to build their capacity to actually be competent in what they're doing. But I think it's a very big question, or a very big area that you're really touching on. And I think it would be very helpful, I think, if they were to learn Baha'i consultation. I think it might help them.
But I wonder if you don't mind to tell me if you encounter any class action in the community, this religious or non-religious, and you can encounter any class action.
Do you mean in the Baha'i community?
Because we talk about decision making based on integrity, but I mean, like in public sector, we have the trade union stepping.
Yes.
Right, and so they said, well, consolidation, comrade, and all that ideas with the workers, belong to the trade union. So when we talk about religions, the idea of consultation is a bit narrower, because I don't know how many trade unions want to step into the church and talk about consultation.
Yes.
Right? And don't take people to the court. So that is another matter.
Yeah. I think you're right. This is why I think the world does need to really rethink how they make decisions. And I think this is why I think as Baha'is we believe God has given us a way to move away from all the things that you're pointing out quite appropriately, these things that really need to be done differently. So thank you for that, Jung. I'm wondering if I can just go to Vasantha.
I have two questions. One is, how do you deal with people during consultation if they insist that they are right and they want, they will not get off their idea, but continue to insist that they are right? That is one question.
Yes.
Other one is, you are with the Relationship Australia as well. If you could also say a bit about how in a family situation, as a family, how people can do consultation.
Very, very good points. I mean, the first one is a hard one, isn't it? How do you help people who think they're right and everyone else is wrong, and they hold on to it? But I think that's where at times where the consultation, you've got a body of people, 9, maybe 8, that are consulting, and even if somebody does feel they're right and doesn't agree with the decision, you still can have the decision can still be made by the majority. But I think that but sometimes maybe people have to be challenged, and just the persistent of views at times may well be. I mean, if it happens just occasionally, we all sort of hold on to our views at times, don't we? And we believe ourselves to be right. The problem only becomes if one person constantly and persistently thinks they're right and everyone else is wrong. That's where it becomes a challenge, and that's where I think that there may be an intervention may be needed to be able to help raise the awareness of that person that maybe they are being persistent with their views. But your second part, in terms of the family, that's a really important area, because that's actually where the next generation learns about consultation, is very much in the family. Now, in terms of a couple, there's only 2 people, so the majority view doesn't apply. So they have to obviously consult as a couple and be able to, I know in the writings it talks about sometimes a husband has to defer to the wife, and sometimes a wife has to defer to the husband. So really it's just saying at times one has to just give way a bit. But in the family, if you've got 1 or more children, that's an opportunity to consult together and be able to learn the skills of consultation within the family. The only difference is is that parents actually do have the authority, and you know that children do not have the equal view of parents. It's not like a democratic situation. However, consulting with children, if they're setting boundaries, if they're setting, consequences, their children should be consulted, and they should be able to be part of that. But in the end, the authority lies with the parents. But that's not to say they can't consult with the children, and should consult with the children, and should be able to let go, adjust any of those guidelines or boundaries that they have as the children get older. So it's really important that there are family meetings and that children are part of that and have a voice, and it may well be there are times where they all do make the decision collectively, and that's a good practice for them to have. I think we might have run out of time, and I apologize for that.
Thank you.
Siva?
Yes. I really thank you, Fiona, for this wonderful presentation. Probably this is the last one for this year.
Oh, right.
And then maybe on the 23rd of January, we will be resuming. But I just wanted to make a comment that Baha'u'llah has given us the guidance, but we Baha'is, we are still learning. We cannot say that we are doing the right thing. we are all learning and try to improve ourselves.
Absolutely.
And also, we are asked, if I remember correctly, one of the letters of the Universal Justice, 30th of December 2021, we are asked as enkindled souls to transcend the differences and harmonize perspectives.
Yes.
And promote the use of consultation for making decisions. So it is I think it is our duty when we have conversation with other friends, not necessarily Baha'i, anyone, introduce this concept of the consultation so that gradually, Jung was alluding to all the problems in the world where they don't consult, they are not competent enough. The gradual changes will come when we have these kinds of conversation with the other friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana, do you have time for more questions? There's two more.
Oh, yes, it's up to you. Yes.
Ahmed and then Robert.
I think I'll give my place to Robert first because he hasn't spoken yet. And then I will ask him about comment.
Just a comment. Any Baha'i serving on a committee or a board or something, the prickly chairman could introduce the Baha'i form of consultation. I remember when Peter de Vogel served on what is now the Charles Sturt University, whenever he was sharing meetings, he would always say, this is the way we're going to consult at this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he would tell all the other people who weren't Baha'is, this is how the consultation was going to gather. And they agreed with it.
That's great. Excellent.
And also years ago, the House of Justice were consulting on a problem, which they needed to have the 9 members all agreeing to it. And for months, and one member disagreed. And after several months, they all came around to the terms of that one member.
Yeah.
So it was not on that consultation, they just thought, we've got the majority there and that's it.
Yes. That's interesting. Ahmed?
Yeah, I'll have a comment as well. This concept of consultation and establishing of assemblies is actually penetrating in the outside world as well. If you remember the Prime Minister, when he started his premiership, he established a council of experts. And he wanted a group from Australia to come together, to sit together and consult on the issues that the Australian community is confronted with. So it is penetrating in the outside world as well. It's a God-given thing that is penetrating in our society.
That's great to hear.
Yong, a quick question.
Yeah, very quick question, Fiona. I can't miss this question to ask you as an expert in the field.
I don't know if I was expert, but anyway.
You know about relationship of Australia, that is, you think is if the cost of living low down a little bit, like, and they don't talk about nuclear station or budget for nuclear power and all that, and people can afford to eat and go to a private school, boarding school to become ministers later on, then the relationship in the family will be much better, because lately people divorce each other, like more than, if I read it, or the TV telling us that more than 55% of husband and wife separated or divorced or estranged. Is that because of cost of living? That's so high, and inflation and all that sort of problem. So we regret that expert people like you, like, I don't know, you talk about consultation and skills and everything, but so far I don't think on a consultation table people have enough skill or patience to sit there and talk properly about their relationship, either in a family or in a community or anywhere, because they get frustrated very quickly. And if they go online, they will be targeted like, you radical? Are you radical? But actually, a lot of people, they're not radical. They just want to voice their views. They're not radical at all, but they don't want to be labeled. So, I mean, when we talk about relationship, I don't think it's like black and white.
No, I agree entirely. I think you make some good points, because, I mean, certainly finances is one reason that things happen, but there's a myriad of reasons as well, many reasons. They often, even that notion of being right, I'm right and you're wrong, I want it my way, not your way. There's many, many, many reasons why relationships break down, and sometimes people just don't make enough effort to actually make the relationship work. That's not always the case. Some people do make the effort, others don't. So there's many reasons why relationships break down, and it's quite sad. And I think you're quite right, Yong. So thank you for that. Colin, back to you.
Well, I think we might wrap it up, because we've looked at decision making with integrity at all levels except the international, and it will be where the biggest problems are. And yet,
yes, absolutely.
And I'm guessing that the same principles would help in the international arena.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'd like to very much thank Fiona for excellent advice and colourful presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, there's just one point I want to mention, because it has not been mentioned. There is an institution in the faith that why it's not suddenly that this body is meeting. There is a procedure for that. There is an election of the members. Yes. And there are those qualities that we need to think and consult our own selves before we elect. This person have a well-trained mind? Is this person have a unquestioned loyalty?
Yes.
Is this person insisting his own opinion or not? So if all the qualities that we learn before electing somebody is matching to this person, I'm going to elect that person, because is the embodiment of these guidelines that is given to us in the faith. So we don't simply appear just like that. The people choose at age 21st and 18, now 18 years old can elect. Yes. And that is for the year. And every is one, that is 21st of April, yes, on the declaration of Baha'u'llah.
Yes.
So after the election, we believe that these members are the chosen ones from God itself. Yes. Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Yes.
But
No,
Pina, that I have a comment on that. That is an ideal situation when we have many Baha'is. Like for example, we could say it's almost -9. We are just, so how do you elect people with all these qualities? That is impossible.
I think those who are elected or even asked to be serving just have to do their best. And I think it's an element of maturity as we're going.
We are evolving and improving.
Absolutely, and we're learning, as Perry said, we're all learning, and we all make mistakes and fall over. But Colin, of course, is the one that guides us so beautifully.
Only until the recording stops.
Is there anyone who has not actually spoken, like Thelma,
Marina.
Olga, or Mirena?
I'm all right. Thank you.
or
It was a nice talk, and I'll just nothing much to ask. Okay.
Thank you, Marina. Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, Fiona, and all the lovely friends that constantly every week presenting, and is really enlightening, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Mina.
Thank you. Thank you, Thelma.
Thank you, Fiona. Thank you,
Thank you.
Sachi?
Yeah, thank you for that. It was a nice speech and well analyzed and things like that. We learned a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sachi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.
God bless
God bless you all.
God bless all. Bye.
Bless you all.
Yeah.
Good night.